Mr. Gates.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Admiral Khan, you'd made mention of the tragic event where we lost some brave aviators down in Key West. I had occasion to meet with the outstanding command staff that we've got down there, and they took occasion while I was there to stress the importance of maintaining the military mission line so that the Navy can continue their operations in the eastern Gulf of Mexico free of the congestion that the erosion of that line or the movement of that line could create. The Air Force has stated under the signature of General Goldfein that unequivocally the Air Force opposes any change to the military mission line. Does the Navy hold a similar view?
I apologize, sir. The mission line for?
The military mission line that preserves the eastern Gulf of Mexico for training, test, and evaluation missions that benefit both the Air Force and the Navy. If it's something you'd like to get back to me on, that's fine.
I don't want to. Let me get back to you on that, sir,
Sure.
to make sure
Yeah,
I fully understand
my
the problem.
question is, do you have a different view of the Air Force since the Air Force has been unequivocal in this? Have I mischaracterized the Air Force's position, General Harris?
No, we unequivocal, we need to protect those range assets.
I would agree with that.
Wonderful, thank you. General Bunch, when we first met, I was a country lawyer running around Okaloosa County, Florida, and you were doing great work at Eglin Air Force Base, guiding our community through an EIS process where we were anticipating a certain number of Air Force variant F-35s along with variants for the Navy and the Marines. The Navy and the Marines have made other plans. They're going elsewhere, and our current EIS caps the universe of Air Force variants that we can have of the F-35, and we have these unfilled slots for the other branches of our services. Does the Air Force believe that refreshing that EIS to reflect the need for more Air Force aircraft at Eglin could help us save money, could be advantageous, or do we live under the current EIS forever?
Sir, if you don't mind, I'll speak to that from
Certainly.
a plan perspective. We are looking at that. As the F-35 community grows, our ability to get trained aircrew pilots, in this case through, we're looking at both the airplanes that are possessed there, which are some of the oldest in the fleet, looking at how we can modernize and refresh those, along with looking at the EIS, because it's limited to 59 total F-35s, and we recognize that there is some room to work. So we will take that through our strategic basing process and make sure that we get a good look at it.
So it is a goal then of the Air Force to have more of the F-35A variant allowed under that 59 cap?
I can't say it's a goal. It's something we're studying.
Great. And is there a timeline for that decision calculus?
Not yet, no, sir. We're looking at it. We still have room to grow at Luke, but as Luke fills out, looking at Eglin to make sure we've got the decisions made in time, if that's where we're going, that would have to be a couple of years before Luke completes its build.
I would simply offer to you that when General Bunch and I went through that process previously, there were factors and circumstances that I think no longer would present a challenge to allow us to be able to fully utilize that Air Force asset to fulfill the mission. And Admiral Grosslags, I wanted to ask you about plans on the TH-57. The TH-57 fleet right now is old. The chairman, I believe, talked about training aircraft and what our plans were. Is there a replacement strategy for the TH-57?
There is. I think Admiral Khan can probably address this better than I can.
Wonderful.
Our strategy for replacing the TH-57 is to go commercial off the shelf. We're going to buy a commercial aircraft and integrate it into the training down in Florida. That timeline will probably start in 20, where we'll start buying aircraft in 20 and be divested by the TH-57 by approximately 2023. We don't have to do any testing on the aircraft, so it's a buy and start flying.
I greatly appreciate that sense of urgency. I know at Whiting, we've got over 200 circumstances a year where a helicopter that takes off at the base has to come back on a truck for that purpose. Have we contemplated a strategy that would be turnkey training, or have we dismissed that as an alternative?
We have not. All options are on the table.
Okay, and what are you evaluating, or what can you share with me about where the Navy's thinking is on the benefits and drawbacks of turnkey training versus a procured and purchased commercial system?
I think the fact that we're getting ready to compete this, both the aircraft and then potential turnkey solutions, I'm hesitant to address the strengths and weaknesses at this point.
That's fine. I just
Yeah.
want to make sure that as the RFP goes out, that it is sufficiently permissive, where if someone has a and I am not a partisan for turnkey versus a procured commercial system, I simply want to make sure that the Navy has both of those options to compare, and it sounds as though that's your plan.
That's correct.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.